20-year-old National Guard from West Virginia, Sarah Beckstorm, has passed away after her injuries from the incident the other day. And I need all of you in the military or even veterans who are feeling some type of way to recognize that it's very fishy that a refugee from Afghanistan who had connections to the CIA and was literally working on very naughty things that would go against the actual international law, right? And obviously, that's not the fault of us because they got proxies. Anyone in the military will know what proxies mean, right? But the fact that this individual who had ties with the CIA was the one who did it, it tells me that maybe someone is trying to find hostilities between the military and the people, and particularly the military and certain classes of people. And I know that plenty of you are smart enough to capture this, right? Because there's no point in anyone who supports immigration, anyone who even doesn't support the Yahtzee stuff that you're defending, right, on the ground when it comes to the locations, right? The fact is that you are not our enemy and you've never been our enemy. You've never been a threat to us, at least right now, right? There are criticisms of what you're doing, West Virginia National Guard should be in West Virginia and not Washington, D.C. Yes. But that doesn't promote violence against you. And I want you to understand that neither leftists, liberals, or progressives, whatever anyone wants to call this side, has advocated for that. Yes, we're very intentional of resistance against certain Yahtzees, but you're not part of those Yahtzees, even though your role is questionable, right? But we know that the difference between you and them is that you volunteered for something very specific. The fact that that's been derailed is more a political problem and a political responsibility, right? While the people who join these agencies that we're talking about are the ones who volunteered. There's a difference, and I need you to know that Americans know this difference, and the people on this side who are very critical of this regime understand that difference, right? You're smarter than what they're trying to create. They're trying to create hostility between us and you. They've been doing that for a while, putting you into cities you shouldn't be in, right? And we can understand that this is a sad time while also not blaming all individuals. The fact that this wasn't just any refugee, but one who had ties to our government positions our reality in which this is something that is much bigger than just someone responding to what's happening on the ground, right? In regards to the kidnappings, it's not connected, right? And I know plenty of you out there, just in general audience, have probably been up to par with the investigation of Candace Owens into the assassination of Charlie. And more, there is much more evidence that there is foreign ties to what occurred, not leftist or liberal ties or transgender ties. So there's something very fishy going on. I don't know what that root of it is, but there's a reason why a refugee with ties to the CIA in Afghanistan did this, and it's not to support immigration. It's not to make a statement against the American Gestapo. It is bigger. It is much more about destabilizing than anything else. And I need us to recognize that history shows that these acts of sabotage come from people who want specific outcomes, right? Outcomes like just ending all third world immigration, which South Africa is also third world, so they're not going to bring white South Africans, right? But obviously, they're not going to consider that a third world, right? Are they going to consider Russia third world? No, right? So let's recognize that someone is trying to push your strings so that you are much more susceptible to being blindly loyal to an agenda, which is kind of what happened to us as all Americans after 9/11, right? They got our emotions of what we were feeling and they made us go to Iraq, they made us go to Afghanistan, right? They made us go to all these places to destabilize. And that's what's happening here, except the destabilizing is happening here. And you're smarter than this. Don't let them convince you to betray the American people. And that American people includes those on U.S. soil who may not have citizenship, right? This is bigger than what's happening with the immigration. This is much more foreign policy, and you know that very well.